Mentioned that this is Doctor's Corner, and it's a call-in show. Please give us a call. Again, it's 288-4442, or if that line's busy, 288-4448. Okay, and I'm talking to Brian Detman, my guest. I'm Tom Fuller, the host of the show tonight. So we're talking about kind of the breakdown of images for men, and that there's some sort of a vacuum there. One thing that I've thought about is that, I think as a rule, not 100%, but as a rule, as men, we do kind of look to the media to find out what is a man, what are we supposed to do, or over the last 40 years or so, as feminism has kind of been on the rise and women have been taking their power, we've looked to women, what is a man, or how am I supposed to act, or whatever, And that's, we're hitting the wall with that as well, a dead end with that, because it's, what I'm hearing is a lot of women are like, hey, don't look to me, you figure it out on your own, because, I can tell you what I want, but, what do you want? And then it's like, well, oh, geez, what do I want? Am I supposed to know what I want? Am I supposed to know what I need? Can I ask for that? And again, I've talked to a lot of guys that have a real hard time with, talking about what they need.
There's very little. I am personally am not as equipped or as comfortable having that kind of a conversation
with
my wife,
your wife,
with myself, with my family,
boss.
With my boss. I mean, those aren't questions that are typically asked.
They seem like pretty normal questions, don't they? I mean,
right?
What do you want? What do you need? What makes you happy?
Yeah, and or perhaps you just kind of deflect, and really I feel like I am more comfortable in dealing with what can I provide?
Okay.
How can I help?
Right.
This sort of, there's a problem. Let me help. Let's solve it.
You're the protector.
Right.
Context for the family life, bringing the money.
But in trying to make it less about me and more about everyone else.
Yeah.
And in the role that I've played in my own family as a middle child, I always played this role of being the moderator, the facilitator between siblings and between parents and siblings. So I feel pretty comfortable in that role, though that has resulted in perhaps not being as attuned to what do I need? What does Brian need?
So you've always just been somebody who's been trying to figure out what does somebody else need? Was there a problem? How can I facilitate this?
And have been asked oftentimes to serve that role.
Right.
As a teenager, when my parents had brought in foster children into our home, and it was an amazing and wonderful experience. Difficult in some ways,
right.
Some situations where, my sister was at pretty serious risk, based on the fact that one of the foster children we had in our family had assaulted her.
Oh wow!
And so there's some mixed emotions about that experience.
Sure.
Looking back.
Right.
But my parents put me in a role where I was there to help these children develop and
so you were there to help support the foster kids, even though you were also there to help protect your sister, I imagine.
Right. And
is that a little bit of tension there?
So it in that one situation, it was tough.
So how does that translate now? I mean, since we are talking about me, talking about what I want, what do I need? How do you feel like you're doing that with that now, or do you feel like you're getting some of those questions nowadays? Like, what do you want, Brian? What do you need?
I think in my relationships, and in comes back to the men's group, and feeling more comfortable, better equipped with asking those questions, or better yet, being comfortable being asked that kind of a question, and saying, sitting back and thinking to myself, what do I need? How can I answer that? I need to solve that, because that will make me a better partner, a better father.
I think we've got a call. So is there a call that is coming through here?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, am I on TV?
You're on TV, and this is Doctor's Corner.
You know what I've been noticing is we live in a capitalistic society that forces our families to break up and be apart and be individual and independent. And I've started to notice that most of the children nowadays are being forced to grow up too soon, and they're being forced to take on too much responsibility. And it's really, I think, bad in the long run, because then we have these children that grow up into adults that don't have the same kind of emotion or threshold. The threshold is too high for emotion and letting out their feelings. What do you think about that?
Well, that's a great question or statement or observation. You know, and just to bring it back into, since we're talking about men's health here, you know, I think it relates a little bit to the role of the father in the family. Because, I mean, what you were starting to talk about, Brian, is that, thank you, caller, by the way, that's a great question, is about your role as being the protector and kind of creating safety for the younger ones, and sounds like the older ones too, but for the other people to develop. I mean, that's really the father's role traditionally. And, you know, now, we haven't really talked about this up till now, but right now we have a lot of families where the father is absent or all but absent. And, you know, personally, I think that the fathers are still in the home. They're dealing with a lot of the same kind of confusion we're talking about, as far as how do I assert myself, how do I be a strong role model, how do I protect my kid. And the other thing that I think the caller's getting to is like the media overload. And like in my family, we just don't let our kids watch television. I'm sorry, you know, because this is part of the way that I, as a dad, and my wife, we work together on this. We want to protect our child, because otherwise, as the caller was saying, you know, they're desensitized to violence, to sexual imagery at a very young age, and they're kind of ripped out of that cocoon that most children, I believe, naturally want to be in for a longer period of time while they develop. So, you know, again, I think that getting men and fathers, I mean, you and I are both fathers, empowered so that, you know, we can not only take care of ourselves and know what we need and express that and so on, but also so that we can work together with the women. You know, there was a little side note in this article. There's a sub article that kind of says that fathers are maybe not so necessary, and I took exception with that, because you know, I think not only are fathers necessary, but they're really important, and maybe they would appear to be more necessary if, again, they were empowered in certain kind of ways to look after their children, protect their children, to take care of their children, love their children, and spend time. I mean, this is another part of the changing economy, is you've got a lot more house husbands. You know, that's going to bring a lot more men into more contact with their kids, and I think that can't but, you know, wind up being a good thing.